Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Dina and this is my channel about cross stitch, and I am here today to give you an update on my stitching, and this update today is an FFO. I recently shared with you my story about going to pick up a piece that I had framed at my local Hobby Lobby, and that when I got it home they had mismeasured it because of the frame I picked had a lip on the inside, and the employee hadn't counted on that, hadn't allowed for that. So they graciously reframed it, and they called me yesterday while they were working on it or about to work on it and confirmed exactly how I wanted the borders to be before they did it again. So that was good. I was glad they did that. So I am tickled to be able to share with you my scissors and bobbins. I think it turned out beautifully and I love the frame. I picked this frame out because it has a raised zigzag kind of print or pattern to it that looks a little distressed on the edges. So I think it mirrors very much for me the look of the scissors in there, because the black is pretty good coverage, but every now and then you'll see something coming through, and that's the color of the fabric. So I think that black frame pulls your eye from all the way from the scissors out to the edge, and everything that's black in here kind of jumps out at you that you wouldn't have noticed before, like the little face on the sheep and things like that. But this is for my sewing room, and I really, really like it. And I'm very pleased with how the framing turned out. Now, I didn't put glass on this one. Helped make it a lot more affordable, and it's just going in my stitching room on a wall that will never be in the sunlight. So I'll just dust it with a feather duster and keep it clean. But I think it's a great addition to my sewing room, and I'm really glad that I got to pick it up today. So I just wanted to share that with you. The next thing I want to show you is a new start, and I don't normally share new starts unless I'm sharing them at the end of when I finish stitching on it. But this is a gift, and it's one that I did not look forward to stitching, I guess is the best way to say it. My son loves everything scary and Halloween, and he likes the real scary stuff, which I do not. So he went and found a store, I think it's an Etsy shop if I'm not mistaken, called the Witchy Stitcher. And he found a pattern in it called Sweet Dreams. And I had mentioned earlier that I was, he brought it to me. He had already purchased it, downloaded it, and printed it off, but he didn't show it to me on the phone. He went ahead and got the thing. And he then asked if I would please stitch it for him. I had a split second there that I thought, I taught you to cross stitch. You can stitch that one. But he doesn't enjoy stitching. It's too slow for him. And I knew that he really wanted it if he went ahead and bought it and printed it out and begged me to stitch it. So I told him I would, and we talked about fabric, and this is the one I ordered the special fabric for. And I will tell you, as I said before, great customer service, but it didn't quite work out. So I'll tell you my story. I pulled out the fabric and the pattern, and I'm sorry I can't show you the pattern, but when he printed it off, he didn't print the cover page off. And so all I have is the pattern. So I can't show you, but it basically says Sweet Dreams, and then over to the side is his hand, like this, with his long, whatever they are, blades, fingertips, whatever, on there. So I got started on it, and I started on the words because they aren't as scary to me as the hand is. And so I thought I will do this first so that when I get to the hand, I'll just stitch it and be done with it. And I decided that I'm going to stitch it until I'm finished with it, because I don't really want to work on it that much, and it's just not my aesthetic. Some of you will love it, but it's just not me. And but you stitch on things sometimes for gifts for the person receiving it, not for yourself. So I've started it. Now, you'll notice there's not the painting on the top up here because It's actually on the other side of the fabric. The dyer that I got this from did a great job working with me, cutting the fabric smaller and painting the blood drip down much lighter. But the problem is she painted it starting at the edge of the fabric, the actual raw edge of the fabric. And she painted it down from there. And when you allow enough for framing, you have very little left of the drip. And so I'll cover it all up when I frame it. I started to call her back or write her back and say, could we redo this one? But then I thought I didn't make sure. I didn't ask her, you know, to leave me so much room at the top. So I looked at it and I decided I would just flip the fabric over. I'll stitch the whole thing. And then I'm going to use her fabric as a guide where she's painted it. And I went and got me a fabric marker. It's like a magic marker or marker, you know, that you can actually draw on fabric with. It's probably not what she uses, but I'm thinking I can get the same look. And I'm going to try it on a scrap of this fabric before I do the real thing. But if it works, then I'll just copy her outline and I'll put it on the top of this one on this side, and the frame will cover up. I don't think you can see a little bit of it coming through. He won't mind that because it'll look creepy. You know, it'll just look creepy, and that'll be great. So I was going to do this as a surprise, frame it, give it to him as one of his Christmas presents. So I've been stitching this the last couple of days. I started it yesterday while he was at work, and I tried to get as much done as I could because also it's the 24 hours of cross stitch, and I thought, I'll just stitch this during the 24 hours of cross stitch. And I got a little bit of it done, and then I had things to do. We had a event last night we had to host at our home, a couple of friends of ours who came over for dinner, and so I didn't get to stitch last night at all. So I got up this morning and I started stitching on it, and I was able to do a Zoom call with a friend, and we were stitching, and unbeknownst to me, my son came up to get breakfast for himself and play with the dog. And before I knew it, he had been very quiet. And before I knew it, he walked right in the door to offer me a sausage ball that he had made for himself for breakfast. He had made a whole batch of them, and he was letting me taste it. And I was stitching on this, and I didn't have time to hide it. So he saw it, and he was like, wow, that's great. You got a lot done. He was so excited. And so now he knows I'm working on it. He doesn't know I'm going to finish it for Christmas, though. I'll pretend that I'm just getting started on it and that I'm going to put it away. But I'm not. I'm going to finish this thing. So my November plans have completely changed. I was telling my friend Glo that this morning. I originally had planned to stitch the first 3 days of November on a stitch in time. I had decided I was going to try to push it as close to a finish as I could get, so that even if I had any time in November, I could go back and pick it up and try to finish it. And if not, that I might try to finish it in January. So I was trying to push it really close to a finish. And then my friend from Canada, Marissa, my dear friend, said, let's do a birthday exchange. And I said, yes. And so we decided to do it around my birthday, which is the 14th of December. And that's not that long, y'all. That's not that long. So I got in the pattern that I wanted to do for my friend Marissa, and I took the first 3 days of November, and instead of stitching on a stitch in time, I did her piece. And I have videotaped that for later after it's gifted. So that's what I did the first 3 days. And then I picked up this to try to do it in the next 2 or 3 days. So my first week of November has not been anything I planned. And in fact, today is the 5th. It's supposed to be full coverage on the 5th. And I'm skipping that for this month because I really want to get this done. Anything that's a gift, I like to get done and, you know, go ahead and move on. So that's what I've been doing. And I'm hopeful that I'll finish this, if not tomorrow, early in the week, next week. And then I can go back and regroup and decide what I'm going to stitch on the rest of November. So thanks for letting me share my framed piece with you and my new start with you. And I won't be back to talk with you again until it's finished. So it'll be a few seconds for you, maybe a few days for me. I don't know. Anyway, happy stitching, everyone. Good night. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is Tuesday. It is the 10th of November. Can you believe it? This month is flying by, and it hasn't gone at all the way that I planned in the beginning, but it has been productive. Let me share with you my latest finish, and this is called Sweet Dreams, and it's by the Witchy Stitcher. Now, if you're a big Halloween person, you will probably recognize this. You know whose hand that is. I have not seen this movie. I couldn't bring myself to watch them, so I had no idea what this meant. I didn't understand the significance of the sweet dreams until my son said, well, it's because he killed them in their dreams. Oh, oh, how terrible. Anyway, you'll notice this fabric is not what I described. It doesn't have blood dripping down from the top. There's a reason for that. I worked with the lovely lady who's the owner of sunnydyes.com and asked her if I could get a smaller piece of fabric than what was on her website, and also could she make the paint a little less vibrant for the blood so it would be in the background, and she agreed immediately and even got right on it and sent it right to me within a week. And this is what that looks like. Isn't that lovely? Well, the problem with it though is, you probably already know, it's at the tip top. So when I looked at measuring down a couple of inches for framing, I lost almost all of the effect of the blood. So since I couldn't use this portion of it without losing everything, I turned it over and I stitched on the back. The painted portion is down here on the other side. So what I've done now is I've got a fabric marker, and I'm going to experiment on the back in this corner down here and just see if it will look similar to what she's done. And if so, I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to take her beautiful piece of fabric and just transfer it onto the front, but I'll start about right here so that I've got room, you know, for my framing. And I just mention that because that's no fault of hers. She did a wonderful job for me. She was very responsive, and I want y'all to please order from her when you need something unique, because she is very good to work with. But remember to let her know if you're going to be framing whatever you're doing, because when I got my first fabric from her, the entire piece of fabric was painted, so that was not, border wasn't a problem. I didn't even think about that, and so that's on me. I should have thought to tell her, please leave me a couple of inches at the top for framing. I didn't even tell her how I was going to finish it. You know, she even went to the website and looked at the design and said, this will be perfect. And it is perfect. I just needed it placed a little bit lower on the fabric and didn't think to say it. And I'm sorry for that, because I know if she were to know that, she would feel bad about it, and it's not her fault. So anyway, I can use her work as a guide, and I think I can replicate it a little bit lower here. And if I can, then that will be perfection. So anyway, once again, you probably won't ever see anything like this on my channel again if I can help it, because it's just not me. But I will say the colors in that are beautiful. The fall colors that were used in this pattern are absolutely beautiful. The colors attracted me, but the subject matter isn't my thing. But some of you it is, so you might like this pattern. Sweet Dreams by the Witchy Stitcher. And it's done, so very excited about that. What I promise I'll do is when I finally fully finish this, for Christmas, I'll bring it back and share it with you so you can see how we resolved my mistake and go from there. So anyway, that's my finish I wanted to share with you. So I will quickly show you something else that I am proud of. As many of you may recall too, I stitched a piece in memory of Leanne, and I wanted to make it a flat fold. And I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted it to be at the level of finishing that I knew would surpass anything else. So I called my friend Vanna and I asked how busy her wait list was and could I add something to it. And she had a spot, and so I sent it to her, and I'd like to show you what she made for me. This is my wintertime flat fold, and it is absolutely beautiful, I think. And look at this fabric. Isn't that perfection? It's on the inside as well, and that blue cording is the exact color of the blue. Just beautiful. It is so well done, and it is so neat and tidy everywhere. I could not have done this as well. I could not have gotten this as straight, and I could not have made this finished anywhere near this nice. So Vanna, thank you so much. If you're watching, I appreciate you more than you know. And I am now going to display this with my Christmas. And we're starting to put up some Christmas decorations. I'm transitioning a little bit as I go. And we'll get in full Christmas decoration when I finish all those ornaments that I have waiting in the wings, which I had planned to do this week. And I hope I still get to, but as I said, things have been going a little bit differently than I had planned this month because of some busy committee work and things that I'm doing at my church. So that comes first. Anyway, thank you again, Vanna. I think it's absolutely beautiful, just like the person that it's in memory of. So just very pleased with that. Okay, well, I'm 11 minutes in, so I don't want to talk much longer. I don't have plans for the rest of the month. I had them, and because I made these changes to do these gift stitching, I now have an opportunity to regroup and see what I want to do the rest of the month. So I'm going to do that today, and I'll come back and let you know either today or tomorrow what my plans are. But in the meantime, happy stitching, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dina, and today is Thursday, November the 12th. I have been working for the last couple of days on one of my lovely patterns that I haven't had as much time on as I had wanted to spend time with. So I spent 2 days on this, the time that I had to stitch anyway, and it was a good amount of time. I was real pleased about it, especially yesterday. I got a little over 630 stitches yesterday, 300 and something the day before. So that is a step in the right direction for sure. I'm sorry, this is Seeking Refuge. I didn't tell you the name of it. Most of you have seen it, and I think you're familiar with it. But when I left off before, I had the first row of bricks done here, and I had the first 2 of these, I think they're fruit, hanging down from the tree, done, and the other fruit were not done yet. So I picked up there, just started on that side and worked my way across a little bit. I skipped the animals in the tree because I wanted to start making some effort on the house. I think the house is such a large motif that I was thinking I needed to put a little time into it so that I don't have it all at one time. So the next time I stitch, I may very well go over here and do the two animals in the tree first, and then maybe finish off those windows and do the door or something. You know, just to give a little progress here and more progress on the house. And then you duplicate this over here. So I could do the same thing. I could do some of the motifs over here and go back and do some bricks and that sort of thing. But this is good progress. It's probably the most progress I've had on this piece at one time in a while. So I was very, very pleased with it, and I'm loving it. I did discover too that this scroll frame, this roller frame, is my largest, and it's the only one that Pandemic is gonna fit on. And I'm starting Pandemic on the 20th of this month. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start Pandemic on a Q-snap because I'll only be working in a small portion in the beginning. And I'm going to make this a focus piece for this month and next month. I'm gonna work on it more throughout the month, and probably next month as well, even though I was gonna do all Christmas in December. I don't think I'm gonna do that now. And the reason being, I want to continue working on pieces like this to try to get them finished by the end of this year. And I would like to finish this one, and I would like to get more progress on my stitching time. And I think that's what I'd rather do than to stitch nothing but Christmas. I'm gonna fit a lot of Christmas in, but I won't leave out everything else. My goal is to try to finish this piece as early next year as possible so that I can, by the time I've worked my way across that top row in Pandemic, that I'll be ready for the roller frame, and the roller frame will be available. So that's kind of adjusted my plans a little bit, but you know me, I adjust them as I need to anyway. That's what planning is all about. So I thank you for letting me share with you my progress for today. I'm coming pretty early today because today I actually have plans. I've been invited to a Canasta game. Apparently one of the regulars had a conflict today, and one of the hostess asked me a few days ago if I played Canasta, and I do, and I love it. So I'm going to fill in today, and I'm excited because I haven't played in a while, and haven't seen people in a while. But we're gonna mask up, and we're playing outside on a back deck that's screened in, but very airy. And if it gets cooler, there's a heater out there. But right now the weather's perfect. It's beautiful. It's not too hot, and it's not too cold. And even it rains, we're covered with a roof over our head, so we're okay there too. So we've been told to bring snacks and our own lunch, to brown bag it. So I've made my sandwich and I'm ready to go. So I'm excited about it. I haven't done anything like this in a very long time, and I'm just excited to get to spend some time with some of the ladies at my church and get to know them a little better. So I probably won't get to do my finishing. I had planned to start finishing my ornaments today, and I don't know if I'll get to do that or not. But if I get home early enough this afternoon, I may tackle the 12 days of Christmas first, because there's only 12. It would be easier to get that one done. So we'll see. I'll share my progress with you. You know that. I appreciate you sharing the journeys with me that I do in my stitching. I haven't mentioned that I've put all my Christmas decorations as far as my stitching up in this room. I have a few others to place throughout the house, and but until I finish my ornaments, I don't want to put up my little tree that we're using this year, because that's what I'm going to use to decorate it, and I don't want it just sitting there naked. So I have to get those done before I can put the tree up. But I do have a new thing for my front door. Let me share that with you. It's so cute. My husband sent me a text with a picture and said, "What do you think of this for the front door?" And I said, "I love it." And so he brought it home for me. So I'm going to be swapping out the Thanksgiving one, or the fall one, for this pretty quick, so that I would love to have all my Christmas up and ready to go by Thanksgiving, so that when we finish Thanksgiving, you know, turn the tree on and we start, you know, enjoying that. So I'm looking forward to that. But I thought that was really cute. It's made to look like a Christmas ornament, and I thought that was really, really a good idea. Okay, got a notification today that my BeStitchMe fabric I ordered is to be delivered today. So if I get that before I record again today, I'll share it with you. I ordered one piece of BeStitchMe fabric. I got it and I liked the feel of it and I liked the color of it. It was very true to what I had seen on her Etsy store. So I ordered 2 more. And I've got one that's a bit out there, and then I've got one that's a good neutral. So a big fancy splash of color and also a neutral. So I'm helping to rebuild my stash. When I kitted everything up, you know, last year I really did a number on my fabric supplies, and then we had a shortage of them and I couldn't get them. So now as they're beginning to show up, I'm trying to buy at least one piece of fabric or 2 a month. I have a good balance in my Stitch from Stash budget, and so I felt like I'm almost in December, and I don't want to leave a whole lot of it on the table like I've done before. So I'm going to try to buy fabrics and get that done. So that's my report for this morning. I hope you're having a great day of stitching. Coco's been an angel and let me film this. I think she may be napping. We've been playing tag, and I've been chasing her all over the house, which is quite the funny thing to see. But she loves it, so that's okay. And we've been outside, and I had a great morning. So I hope she has a good day. I know she will have a good afternoon because she'll be with her dad, and they'll probably take a walk. So she'll love that. Well, enjoy your stitching, as I said, and I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Dina. Today is Friday. It is the 13th of November, and I have been stitching just a little bit today, but I've had a wonderful stitching session with my friend Megan, Stitch in May, and we have been virtually stitching and chatting and just really catching up with each other again, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But I'm going to be putting it to bed here pretty soon. So I wanted to share with you what I've been working on and show you my progress. So I picked back up my Stitch in Time, and I've been working on it. And I have almost finished all the cross stitch. I'll show you what I haven't done yet. There is some straight stitches, back stitching inside these little things here that I haven't done yet. But once I finish that, I will be able to roll this up. And I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't done the back stitching yet, but I'm going to do the beading and back stitching at the end. I went ahead and did this because it was such an integral part of the design, but I'm waiting to do this back stitching and the back stitching on the scissors when I do the beading. So now I am ready to roll this up on my little frame here and do the bottom portion, which, I hate to say it, has even more stitching than the top, because this is full coverage inside that hoop. I don't think I realized that until tonight when I was looking at the pattern. I thought, because the color of the fabric and this thread is so close to one another, that it was just a part of it stitched, but it is full coverage from this corner all the way across. Here is full coverage. But I'm loving it. I think it's going to be beautiful, and I'll wanted to bring it back and show it to you, what I've been working on. Now, the other thing I wanted to tell you about is I got haul. I got 2 pieces of fabric from BeStitchMe. The first fabric that I wanted to share with you is called Outback Jack, and the Joyfield Stitcher loves Outback Jack. She talks about it all the time. And this is this beautiful neutral, and that is about the color. That is truly the color. So looking forward to being able to use that at some point. I'm leaving them in their wrap because I'm not ready to use them yet, and I want to keep them clean. Then this is called Autumn, and look at that beautiful piece, would you? Now, oh hey Coco. Coco likes it too. I think that is absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to figure out what I'm going to put on this. It just came in today and I haven't looked, so I will give it a look, and can't wait to use it. And the one other thing I like about it, it's pretty loud on the posting. It looks really bright, but on Lugana it doesn't take as dark. And so that is a beautiful piece of fabric. So thank you very much. I appreciate it very, very, very much. I had a great experience ordering from her, and I think I would recommend her to you. So BeStitchMe on Etsy. Okay, I think that's everything I have to share with you tonight. I think Coco's ready to go to bed. She's coming here to see what I'm up to. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight, and I hope to get a chance to talk with you tomorrow. Happy stitching, everyone. Hello everyone, happy November 15th. It's Sunday today, and right now it's a pretty day, but it's becoming cloudy and it may rain later. So you may see sun come and go, and I apologize for that, but I do have 2 windows over here that I'm sitting in front of. So that may happen. This morning, what I want to share with you are finishes. I have been in a finishing mode for about 2 days now. I did some stitching each day, but I'm still working on that piece, and I'll share it with you maybe this evening when I'm finished stitching on it for the day. But in the meantime, I did some finishing. So this, you'll remember, this is not my usual fare, but I wanted to share with you what I did with it, just as a sample to show my son what he might want to do. He likes this, but he says it's too bright. He wants it grunged up. So I think we may be coffee and tea dyeing it. But anyway, there's Sweet Dreams. I think a simple black frame would be fine. But we'll go from there, and I'll work with him to let him get that to the look that he wants. So now, the biggest finish I've done myself, I finished up yesterday. I worked on it for 2 days. I did 2 protocols to see how I liked them, and then went ahead and did the other 10 yesterday. And I will tell you this, I have a renewed respect for any of you finishers. Ivana, I don't know how you do it. My hands still hurt today, and I just did 12 ornaments, and I know y'all do a lot more than that. But I want to show you my 12 Days of Christmas. You saw my fabric that I had picked out, and you've seen the stitching, and I've even shown you my trim. But one thing you hadn't seen yet, and that was my hangers. And I am thrilled at how they turned out. So this is my partridge in a pear tree with my gold trim. This is the beautiful backing fabric. And these hangers are fabulous. I got these at Hobby Lobby, a box of 12, and they were like $2.99, something like that. They were on sale. And I thought, this is perfect. Absolutely perfect for this ornament. So this is my partridge in a pear tree. I'm going to show you a few more because they look alike, but they're different shapes. I did the shapes to match the design, but all of them have an arch top that pulls them together. So all of the ones that are this little shape are the same size, but the ones that are wider, I matched to the actual piece itself. I cut the front part out of foam core, and then I cut a thinner board, and I'll tell you the secret. I cut up a FedEx box. It was the perfect thickness and strength just to make that backing. So it's what I had, it's what I used. But if you'll notice these hangers, you'll see they're different. There are actually 4 different versions of the hanger. There's this one. This is the same as the first one. This is a new one. And that's my 4 calling birds. And then, let's see. Oh, geese. This one has the other one. Just the single one. And then on one of the single ones, they swapped up the bead, as you can see. Here, this one has that. So, oh, there's one more. Look at that. It's got the 3 beads on it. That's my 8 Maids of Milking. So this set is finished and ready to go on my Christmas tree. So my husband bought me a small tree this year. I think I may have told you that I was trying to figure out how to put up a tree this year that Coco couldn't eat. So we have a small 3-foot tree that we're going to put up high in an alcove in the wall. And I'm going to decorate it with these ornaments. And then my 25 Advent animals, I'm going to make into pillow ornaments. And I'll have 25 of those. And so I may wind up putting them across my mantle because my little tree isn't going to hold all of them. It would be overwhelmed, I think. But anyway, I'm very, very, very pleased with these. I think they turned out really well. And I'll show you. Here's the front and here's the back so you can see it at the same time. But don't they look nice together? I think they really did turn out pretty. I glued them. I used Aleene's tacky glue and I glued all of them. That's how I made them and let them dry. And so I'm very proud of them. They're not professional. They certainly don't look like Vonna did them, but I'm happy to have them done, and I'm happy that I'm going to be able to use them this year. So that's my report for today, and until this evening maybe when I get some stitching done and I can share that with you. But I just wanted to come in and share that because I need to put these away so a little puppy dog doesn't find them. I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope you have the rest of the day to stitch if you can. And stay safe, whatever you're doing. Happy stitching. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is the 17th of November. I had to stop and think. Oh, this month is flying by and it has not gone anything like what I originally planned. So I feel a little bit confused, I guess, as to what day of the week it is or what I'm about to work on or that sort of thing. But it's been kind of interesting, been kind of fun. Before I get started showing you my whip progress, I would like to share an FFO with you. I am woefully remiss in sharing this with you because I got it back quite a bit ago, probably a couple of weeks ago. And I did the terrible thing of using it before I shared it. And then because I had put it up in my home, I didn't think about bringing it in and showing it to you. And the reason that I thought about it today is I actually got it off my mantle and I brought it in here to share with someone on a Zoom call that wanted to see it. And I thought, oh, I don't even think I have shown that on my channel. So I had won a giveaway from Stitcherella on her channel sometime this year, but it's been a while. And she gifted me a pattern, and she included the fabric to stitch on, the backing fabric, and some Lady Dot Creates little mini fringe. So mini pom-poms. So I stitched it up. I shared it with you. It was a mania start and finish. And I had decided I wanted to make a pillow because I had such beautiful fabrics and trims to use. But I was on such a concentrated effort to finish things this year that I didn't want to take the time to make it myself. So I contacted Keepsakes and I talked with them about making a pillow for me. And I was fortunate enough that it was well enough in advance that they could get it to me in time for Thanksgiving. And I've actually had it, as I said, a couple of weeks, so they were quite timely with it. But this is thankful, grateful, blessed. Isn't that cute? I love this fabric. I love this fabric. I think it's precious. And the back is the same color. And I'm really glad that they used the little owl fabric so much because it really is my favorite. And this just makes it look like a frame, you know, like it's got a mat around it and that it's been framed. It's nice and firm, but not hard. And the little trim is on it. It's so cute. The back is actually quilted. I don't know if you can see that or not, but she quilted the back of it. Lovely. Quality is perfection. Anyway, I really, really like it. I really like it. It's been on my mantle. It'll stay up through Thanksgiving coming up next week. And then all my Christmas will go up there. So thanks for letting me share that with you. And I'm sorry I took so long to do that. So on the 13th, I decided rather than working on Winter Quaker, which is what I had planned to work on, I decided that I would pick back up with a stitch in time. I wanted to stitch on a stitch in time the first 3 days of this month, but I had agreed to an exchange with my friend Marissa, and I stitched the first 3 days in November to make sure that I could finish the exchange stitching before I did anything else, which was great. And then I got really busy and I stitched my son's gift, Sweet Dreams, and I've shared that with you as well. And that took the next few days, you know, in November. So I did not, I didn't stitch in the full coverage for the 5th. I didn't stitch my Christmas ornament for a sal, an ornament sal. Instead, I did Sweet Dreams all the way up until the 9th, but it's framed and gifted. So I put 1 day or 2 into Seeking Refuge, and I got a good deal done with that. But then I actually sat down and looked at the month of November, and I could fit in every single project I needed to work on to finish my 2 acrostics. The turkey for the monthly magazine sale and the 24 hours of cross stitch. Well, one of the prompts for that acrostic in 24 hours was a stitch in time. So I had to pull it back out. So I pulled that out on the 13th, and I was intending to stitch on it just enough so I could check that off and go to the next thing, and no more than 1 day on anything so I could finish up all the acrostics. And I'm sure most of you will understand what I mean when I said I picked that thing up and I couldn't put it down. I could not stop. It went so well. I made so much progress on the 13th that I thought, oh, it's a stitch-a-thon. I'll just keep going. So I continued stitching on it Saturday and then again on Sunday. And when I should have picked up Mermaid for an Under the Sea sale in Cross Stitch Finish Line, I was so close to finishing. In fact, I finished the cross stitch portion on the 16th. And all I had left was back stitching and beading. And I decided that I was going to stitch on it today until it was finished. And that I was going to finish a stitch in time. So this is the pattern itself. It's a button and beads kit. It came with perforated paper, which is still available because I didn't use the perforated paper. I didn't want to. I wanted to stitch on a Lugana, just a beautiful antique white Lugana. And so here's mine. I have finished it. I'm so excited. I have to press it well, and then I need to get my 5x5 frame somewhere. I'll either order one online for these Mill Hill kits, or I will find one that just has a 5x5 opening in it. But this has been quite the challenge. It had specialty stitches. It had Smyrna stitches here across the top. It had it had French knots, which I did not do. I substituted beads for that. But it had a stitch in the border here that I'm sorry, I can't remember what they called it. But they were straight stitches to me. They just covered the whole section. And you had to look at the pattern to see which direction you were to stitch them. You really had to watch this pattern because they did some of their stitches in 2 strands and some in 3. And it was an interesting proposition. There's a lot of, look at all of this back stitching over here. There's quite a bit of it there. And quite a bit of it in the floss as well. And a lot of beading. You've got beads in your floss. You've got beads around the bottom of the thread, and your hoop is beaded. You've got, you know, beads in the end of the hoop where you have your tightening device. The tomato is heavily beaded. You even have beads on the pins. And then you have beads around your heart up here and beads in the corner. There's even beads down this side over here. So there's a good deal of beads, a good deal of them. But it's beautiful. I love it. I think it's gone very well. And at first I wondered whether I should stitch all of this off-white background that's just sort of splotchy throughout, or leave it white. But because the perforated paper was white, you would have stitched it there. So I thought, well, it's supposed to be a bit of a shadow. So I went ahead and I stitched it just as it was charted. I changed one thing. When I worked across here in these flowers, somehow, I don't know how, I got off on one of them, and I had miscounted or something, and there's supposed to be 2 different styles of flowers across here. But when I went back and counted what I had done, it was easier for me to work out the ones if they were the same. And so that's what I did. But on the pattern, every other one is the lilac and every other one is beaded. Those are just beaded flowers in between the lilacs. So I decided I would just make mine all the same. I put as many flowers in there as they had. I just did them a little bit different. And this is where the French knots were supposed to be, and I don't know if you can tell, but I put little yellow beads there instead of little yellow French knots. And I actually used the petite beads in here that were used in this flower and were used around the skeins of floss. So that was the change I made, and it was mainly because of an error, and that's how I fixed it, and so that worked out just fine. But I am tickled to death to have this one ready to frame for my sewing room. And there is a button, the little strawberry is a button, and that you attach last. So I was really tickled when I got to do that. So this one's ready for framing, and I'm ecstatic about that. So what I'd like to do is gift this pattern. The perforated paper is here. There is floss available. I made a working copy of the pattern, and I made the decision that I was going to stitch 2 strands where it called for 3, because I just felt like it was going to be, on my 28 count, it was going to be just too tight to do anything else. So I have threads left over, and guess what? They're DMC. So all your DMC numbers are in the kit, and if you run out of something, you can just pull that number. In fact, when I opened this kit, one of the colors was missing, and I actually had to go pull it out of my stash. It was 3835, which is the beautiful violet color. And I had a mystery floss that I had no idea what the number was. I had separated all the floss, and other than the one I was missing, there wasn't anything to call this one. I just called it mystery floss because I didn't know what it was. Then I got down to attaching the little mini beads, the little petite beads, and it called for a color that I didn't have. And I thought, I wonder if that's what this is for, because they were yellow, kind of goldeny yellow petite beads, and this looked really good with them. So I did use it for beading. Anyway, I will send you the floss. I made little thread drops for them. They're flimsy. They're not, they're not really strong. In fact, one of them I broke pulling threads off of it, so you have to be careful with them. But I just attached the threads at the top of that same little tag. Anyway, I have a title tag on here for you that says A Stitch in Time. And, but I'll give you the perforated paper, and I'll even give you the beads that are remaining. There are 2 packs of beads in here. May not be enough beads to do the whole piece, but it would give you a color, and you might have beads in your stash that would be close enough. If not, you can order from the pattern. So if you would like to stitch this, I'd love to give it to you and let you do that. It's a Buttons and Beads Mill Hill series. So if you would like to stitch this pattern, just say you'd like to stitch the Mill Hill, and I'll randomly select one of you on my next video. So you've got about 2 weeks. That's about how often I video. I am about 2 days past what I usually do. I usually try to video about every 2 weeks, and my last video I think was on the 5th or so, 4th or 5th. I think it was the 5th. Anyway, and today's the 17th. So it's been a little more than 2 weeks because it's been over 10 days, but it's about the right time anyway. So I'll see if I have enough footage, because I have stitched so much on things to a finish that I haven't worked on as many things as I normally do. But then I certainly have had some finishes. I've done some fully finishing, as you know, of my 12 Days of Christmas, and I've finished 3 cross-stitch projects this month. So that's a good thing. I couldn't show one because it's the gift stitching, but I have videotaped it, and then when I fully finish it, I'll tape it again so that you can see it. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up for this video and get it on up there for you if I've got enough footage in it. And I can't remember if I have any footage of Coco to share with you or not. If I do, it'll be here. And if I don't, I'll just put a picture of her at the end so you can at least see her. And I will talk to you soon. I hope you have a great rest of your week. My plan right now is to grab my whips that I need for my acrostics and put a minimum amount of time into each one, because I would hate to get all the way to November and let that be the first month that I don't make the acrostic. So planning on doing that. So if you want to stitch this, a stitch in time, just make a comment below that says you'd like to stitch the Mill Hill kit. It's really pretty. I think you'd like it. Thanks for letting me share it with you. Happy stitching, everyone. Good night.